There are people, like me, who will sometimes find themselves with the irresistible urge to get their hands on a handmade Azrael plushie or a hand-painted leather bracer with Captain America's shield on it. Fortunately, there are creative people who understand these most basic needs. Ladies, gentlemen, greetings, and welcome to the Kinetoscope Parlour, where we meet strange and wonderful people. I'm your host, Baron Celsius von Fahrenheit, coming to you from G-Anime in Gatineau, Canada. Conventions like this are obviously a great place to see very geeky stuff. From costumes to panels, geekiness is celebrated here. But the people I want you to meet today are the creators who add to the geekiness pool by creating their very own geeky trinkets.
Mostly what I create is based on origami pieces, either traditional pattern or geeky pattern. So I fold from trains to TARDISes to starships, and I make jewelry and accessories out of this.
I make pixel art, but more specifically I make bead art with perler beads. So I will take designs from video games, cartoons, anime, and sometimes I'll try to figure out comic book things and I'll make them into 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit versions. So ranging from as small as that to as big as some of these.
Jewelry and accessories made with polyhedral dice, so 20-sided dice often used in tabletop gaming such as Dungeons & Dragons is the most popular one. I also have some items that are made with pocket watches that are embellished to look kind of like fantasy jewelry with a lot of very nice, pretty beads on them.
We're talking about belts, Jedi belts, steampunk, LARPing, medieval, fantastic, Celtic, Viking, whatever is needed or asked for by the clients for their cosplay or their costume. The leathersmith that I am just adapts to what's being asked.
I make all sorts of geeky and cosplay accessories. They can go from anywhere, from hair clips and jewelry to full-on reproductions of accessories used in any cosplay.
Leatherworks like bracer, wallet bracer. I'm doing fairy wings, painting on glass. Now I have cookie jars, which is a lot of manga's characters.
I do custom plushies, but I do mostly Digimon because I love Digimon myself and there's not much of official plush. I also do Pokemon and some other mostly creatures of like all kinds.
I do glass etching, glass painting. I do some mirror etching or painting.
I specialize in sterling silver and antique bronze jewelry. My creation process is I carve it in wax, kind of like wood carving on a smaller scale, cast it in metal, make a rubber mold, and then I make injection copies, which I cast in silver, bronze, and even gold. My style varies from Celtic jewelry to fantasy to geeky.
But where did the inspiration for these things come from?
I get my inspiration from cartoons, video games, anime, comics, television, a bit of everything geeky or otherwise. Whatever I feel like making, I just kind of make. So I kind of make sometimes very obscure things because I like, you know, like obscure characters like Luigi or the Samurai Pizza Cats, things like that.
I'm just sticking the picture that I liked and I want to etch it.
I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons with some friends for quite a few years now, almost a decade, and I've been going around to conventions and didn't see too much jewelry based on it, but I thought it would be really neat because there are a lot of girl gamers out there, so I thought I would try to cater to that niche market. So looking at the dice one day, I figured, hey, I can make a necklace out of this, and it just went from there.
Actually, I don't even remember learning to fold origami. I was 2 or 3 years old when I started. I always continued to fold origami, but wanted to do something out of it, and it has been always extremely extremely difficult and challenging, but it's just the wish to use origami to do something.
I'm inspired by materials. I can go in a store and see something and it will tell me I want to be made into this. Sometimes it takes a while. I just think something is cool and I'll get other things to go with it later on, and then they'll become something.
A lot of things came from the Lord of the Rings because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. Inspired by Elvish things. And well, for the conventions, I do a lot of manga stuff.
I actually found out on the internet, like, I wanted to commission another plush artist who was doing professional work, and I waited for 2 years for that certain plush, and then I wanted to try it, and so I tried it myself.
The inspiration pretty much comes from a little bit everything. Special requests. I've had people who've asked for specific styles of jewelry, like Celtic jewelry in Verdun. I've done a lot of medieval events, so I've done some medieval jewelry, gemstone jewelry, because like I actually love working with stones. And then I have like the geek stuff, so animes I've watched, TV shows I've seen, video games, anywhere in between.
I always liked medieval theme. When I was younger, a lot younger, I used to go LARPing. For the first LARP, we did all our stuff ourselves. And since I was quite good, my friends told me, well, you should put them in shop. So basically, the things we did for ourselves that were good and necessary, I did the same thing because I figured that the players would need the same thing as I do.
One wonders how long it took these creators to master their craft, and if their first attempt was as successful as their recent endeavors.
No, my first attempts were pretty bad. Actually, for the varnished origami, it took me more than 10 years of trial and error. And for the origami in itself, I think it's impossible to master it because there's so many patterns, and then you can actually make your own too, so...
It's hard to say how long it took me to master it. I don't think I mastered it. I think I mastered parts of it. And that took me a few weeks to a few months just to figure out how to, you know, put it together in a way that I liked. But the actual first attempts were, I remember the first one I ironed, I still have it, and it was horrible. I remember the first time I made a mistake with the ironing and a whole bunch came out. I remember putting down things and like putting them the wrong colors that I thought would work at a certain time, but in the end didn't. So it's a learning process, and even today I'm still learning.
Oh, it definitely took a bit of time. This is about my 4th year in selling the dice jewelry, and when I first started, I thought the idea that there should be, I needed to make the dice into jewelry, I need to put a hole in the dice, and that took me a while to get the hang of. I actually needed my father's help with using the power tools to begin with, and he had to teach me how to do all of that, and there was definitely a lot of trial and error, a lot of broken dice and drill bits in there, but we got it down, and it keeps evolving. Like every few conventions, we introduce some new products, try some new things with them, and make them a little better, and goes from there, keep improving.
I started in 2003, and I'm still getting better because it's an ongoing process. You don't have the choice. You want to adapt. You want to have new things. You have to innovate in the things you do. The first one were nice, but each year I adapt my style and I know a little bit more because I didn't have any courses. I just learned it. Here's the tools, have fun. And you find out pretty much very fast what you can do and what you cannot. And afterward you have to ask questions like anybody else.
It takes me about a month to master a technique. This is why I teach myself a new technique every month. At first, yes, there were many ugly things, but now it's a lot easier to actually use the first pieces I make.
I actually cut the pieces, I marked the pieces with a black marker, which was not a good idea, so you could see all the black marks on it. And then I sewed it like weirdly also the head, and I lost patience, so I just hot glued the rest. Technically, you always learn new techniques. You can't really when I mastered mostly, it was about 4 years ago when I got the hang of it and everything. I didn't need to do a pattern. I can just cut the shapes and like that and use to do it. But now it's you always learn new stuff. You always improve.
Well, what I have on my table is my first attempt.
People will ask, why create these things? Is it just for the income? Can they make a living off of it? Or is there another reason?
At first it was what I was doing in leather was especially for have an added income because I was working as a director for human resources in the computer field. And afterward, when I lost my job, it became a full-time job and I'm living from it. But actually there's two things I'm living from it, the letter and the writing. So both of them make sure that I can live with those products of my creation.
The reason I started making jewelry is because I was in the fine arts originally, and I dropped out because oversized egos. I fell into jewelry making because it's an art form that you can wear with, and there's a nice decent market in it. I've worked professionally as a jeweler for quite a while, and the reason why I work for myself is I like the idea of being able to make something that people love and will wear and that people will appreciate. Versus working for someone else, I'm doing stuff I really don't like making.
I do make a living off of it. I do not have any other jobs. I do pay my rent, pay my bills with it. Why do I do it? Because I love it. I've always done it on the side, and eventually it became a viable living. So why stop?
I would like to live with what I do, but I'm not sure if it's possible.
At the beginning, it was just for fun because I love doing crafts. I've been into the art since I was a little kid, and then there was times when I got pregnant and everything, I couldn't go to the job, so I started to make it a bit more full time. And now I get so many orders that now I do it mostly like a living. Because usually, right now, I have like 60 orders.
I create my items now mostly because that's my job. It's almost my full-time income. I have to take little contracts here and there, but this is my main income. But I do it also because it's fun, it's relaxing, I love folding origami, I love the challenge of trying to make things smaller, difficult things, new items, so it's a bit of both.
It was mostly a hobby. I started making them and I knew I was going to be selling them. This isn't something that I live off of. It's more just a fun weekend activity to do, an excuse to go to some different cities, meet some cool people, get out and go to some neat conventions. I'm a student mainly, and so this is just a side form of income, but I love doing it. I don't think I'd give it up.
Oh, I don't do it far enough to make an income. I do it just for fun, mostly. It started as an idea to make Christmas gifts for friends a few years ago, and now this is like actually my first time at a table. Officially, I've done it like with other tables before, but I just do it for fun mostly. Just a lot of fun, and it's not related at all to my field.
But how did they learn to do this? Is it something they study? Was it related to their day job?
Not necessarily related to either. I've been into playing tabletop gaming, or I've been into tabletop gaming for a while, so the dice were right there. Power tools that I used to create them, not something I'd really handled before, so I needed a bit of assistance with that and a bit of practice to get into it.
No, I mostly learned by myself. But there was some stuff that I looked online, but at that time there was not much information. But now there's like a whole bunch of patterns and stuff like that, so to help others.
It's just something I kind of looked at the instructions on the internet, picked up, and just started playing with it. And the great thing is that it's fun that you have the freedom to just try whatever you want, and you can tell if it works, and if it doesn't, people will tell you if it doesn't.
It was not related to my day job at all, but I was lucky enough to grow up in a very artistic family, so I had access to tons of technique, tons of material.
I'm just starting to etch by myself and learn by myself and just go over it and take the tools that I have home and make something. I actually have classic jewelry training, which I don't use at all in my work. It's all visual, tutorials, everything. I teach myself.
I went into a DP program in Montreal, École de Métiers Sud-Ouest, where I took a 2-year full-time program in making jewelry. It is the introduction to the trade as it is. After that, I actually started working full-time in the trade itself for other people, production shops, repair shops. I was the assistant manager and technician in a jewelry store. I've been independent since 2010. I work for myself full-time. You can make a living at it, but but it's not easy. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of patience, but if you're willing to stick through it and you actually have a market, it is worth every minute of your time and your energy.
I learned by myself. So I didn't read or anything. I just went with it and tried things and figured out that, hey, that works and that doesn't work at all. So it kind of picked up another thing. I'm always amazed when people call me, hey, would you like an apprentice? I would like to learn from you. Man, you're doing already a course in leathersmith full-time at school and you want to learn from me? I should be learning from you. But they keep calling anyway, so.
Since these are creators, for the geek question, I asked if they could create an item from any work of fiction, whether it's high-tech or simply fantastical. What would they create?
Oh man, so the obvious answer is the TARDIS, but I think I would go something just more simple and a good old teleporter, but a wrist-mounted one, so I don't have the whole Star Trek like teleporter pods, but something like I could sleep in and just go click, I'm at work.
You know what? The mecha, the Terra rides in Final Fantasy VI.
I would like to do the Sword Art Online games because it's a game that you basically leave your body to go in the game. So you switch universe, and it's just amazing.
I would say more like a lightsaber from Star Wars. Blue one.
It's a really difficult question, but I think I would go for the replicator in Star Trek because then you can have access to so many things, food, clothing, medical items. I think it would be great and just awesome to have that.
I want to make every single keyblade out of the right materials.
I think if I could make any item at all, it would probably have to be a Master Ball from Pokemon because you never know when you're going to run into a legendary Pokemon.
The Mario Bros. Stars.
I guess the best thing would be to go back in time. Play around in time. Either you can get anything from that, but it's kind of a trick question because if it's a thing, that means it can be stolen and anybody can get it and change. So I don't know. Yes, I would like to do that, and I'll see if my wisdom will stop me from making any foolish things. Not sure, but we'll see.
So that's all for today. I'm Baron Celsius von Fahrenheit here at GNMA telling you to stay weird until we meet again at the Kinetoscope Parlour. Hi everyone, Alex here. Hope you liked the episode. This one was pretty long, so I'll try and keep the vlog short. This was a lot of work to film and edit. It's the most people I've interviewed in a single show yet, and it was a noisy environment, and these people were extremely busy. They were selling, and many of them didn't have any help at their table. They were alone. So we kind of had to time things between the customers, and I'm very grateful for all these great people to have indulged me and participate in this episode. And it was a big job to edit too, because when I got home I had over 100 clips for this episode with all the inserts of all the creations, and I actually used most of them, so it was a big work. And I want to thank GNMA who helped a lot. They gave us press pass, they were very nice, they helped us a lot. I filmed this episode, the Doug Walker Q&A, the Doug Walker interview, and the Dr. Holocaust interview in the same weekend. I couldn't have done that without their help. So I strongly invite you to have a look at the sites of all these great people. I've put them in the credits, they're probably gone by now, but they're over there and they're in the description. Check out what they do great stuff. And on that, I'll see you next time.